Good morning, everybody. I like to talk to you today about an attack on a cryptographic scheme, namely on the Zerocoin scheme. So if you think about a blockchain, especially the Bitcoin blockchain, can you see it? Yeah. We see every transaction in plain. So we see Alice sends Bob 5 Bitcoin, Bob sends 1 Bitcoin to Carol, and so on. Now, this is a really big lack of anonymity, and we want to provide some anonymity features to blockchains. So that's where Zerocoin comes in. Zerocoin is an add-on on the blockchain, which enables us to convert 1 Bitcoin to 1 Zerocoin, and afterwards convert it back to 1 Bitcoin. And thereby we don't reveal this transaction here, so we don't know where did the Bitcoin come from. And initially, I'm talking here about Bitcoin. The Zerocoin paper wanted the Bitcoin blockchain as the so-called base coin for it, but that didn't work out, so there came several other currencies. So Zerocoin was published in 2013. And is nowadays used in 5 major currencies, namely Ccoin, Soin, Pivx, Hexcoin, and Smartcash, which together have roughly a market capitalization of $360 million US. So how does Zerocoin work? We have essentially 3 algorithms: minting, spending, and verifying afterwards. So for minting, when Alice wants to mint a block, she does a proof of burn of 1 of her Bitcoins and does a new Zerocoin like committing to a serial number. And both the proof of burn and the Zerocoin are included in a Bitcoin transaction. So it's in the normal Bitcoin blockchain. And the serial number we will see afterwards, we need that to prevent double spending. And when this transaction is confirmed in the blockchain, then we have 1 new Zerocoin and 1 Bitcoin less for the time. For spending, Alice proves in zero knowledge that she burned actually 1 Bitcoin. She doesn't say which one, and that it's part of all the minted Zerocoins so far. And additionally, she points to 1 unclaimed minted Zerocoin, which then will be spent. It's not hers. It's just some random Zerocoin not spent so far. And then that's a spending transaction. This again goes to the Bitcoin peer-to-peer network. For verifying now, a miner does that. He checks if the proof is valid of Alice, and he checks if the serial number was not already used. That's important. So I want only that if the serial number was not used, then I can spend, because then I only spend it once. And if it verifies, then it's in the blockchain, and then I have converted a Zerocoin back to 1 Bitcoin. Now, the issue with Zerocoin is it has been proven secure with all its security properties, but there was one missing. So for every coin, I have exactly 1 serial number which is valid, where I can build a proof on. But I can have for 1 serial number several coins which are still valid with that serial number. So for the attack, Alice wants to send a transaction to the peer-to-peer network with a proof pi, a serial number S, and the coin she spends C prime. And then an attacker blocks her access to the network. It can be her provider, her Tor exit node. It's just necessary to block for some time at least. So he gets this transaction, and as I said before, my Zerocoin is a commitment to the serial number, so he just commits to the same serial number and inputs that mint transaction in the blockchain. When that's confirmed, he can spend as normal with his new minted coin. But now if Alice wants to spend her previously minted Zerocoin with the same serial number S, the serial number is already included in the blockchain, as the attacker had already spent with that. So it will be rejected as a double spend, and I have burned the coin of Alice, and she can't spend it anymore. If the attacker sends to his own address, well, then he only has to pay the fees for the transaction, and otherwise he will be fine. We fixed that with an additional security property called serial number unforgeability, which essentially says, okay, the attacker gets a lot of Zerocoins and already spent serial numbers. He can obtain new proofs of spending for that Zerocoins, and then provides a new proof. And the proof has to be valid, but the serial number has already to be used, which means it comes from the spending oracle, it already has been spent. So we can come up with a new proof for an already proved serial number. And the fix in the construction actually was very simple. Before we said we pick a random serial number, and now we use the public key of a signature scheme as serial number and commit to that public key. Then additionally, in the spending algorithm, you have to sign the transaction with this secret key corresponding to the serial number, so the attack doesn't work anymore. The currencies I mentioned before were all vulnerable. And when we wrote the paper, they were not still all fixed, but today they are. So Ccoin, Soin, Pivx, and Hexcoin fixed the bug. And SmartCache decided just to ignore it and disable every Zerocoin feature. As Zerocoin is an add-on to the blockchain, this just worked. So you see, even if a scheme is proven secure, then it still can mess up with some properties which are forgotten. Thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you very much, Victoria. Are there any questions in the audience?
Hello, just one question. The change in the scheme, how did it influence the performance of the whole scheme? Did it degrade it, or have you evaluated this?
I don't know that, but it shouldn't be that worse.
Okay, I think there was another question over here as well.
Was it successfully exploited in the wild?
This bug was not exploited. There were two other bugs which were not in the Zerocoin scheme itself, but in the implementation. One of them was exploited, but not this one.
Okay, thank you. We have still at least 2 minutes for another question. So please feel free to ask. So maybe I can add another question. Do you see any other denial for spending attacks on any other kind of cryptocurrencies or something like that?
Not any unknown, at least.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Victoria.